And to watch Yoda light up that lightsaber and to see all the flips that he does, it was like the Old West. And it was like watching Doc Holliday, somebody who's sort of limping around until they have to get into action. And he turns into this incredible martial artist doing all these sorts of moves, and Dooku can barely keep up with him. This is Christopher Lee we're talking about. This is Dracula. Yeah. This is dude from Lord of the Rings. This guy knows swordplay as a real person. And so watching him go at Yoda, it was just so great. And then Yoda turning off the lightsaber and then instantly getting the cane back. And it was like, anybody who challenges that scene, I will tell you, watch any NBA player walking into or out of an arena after the game. When they're on the court, they're running, they're jumping, they're dunking. As soon as they're done with the work, they are taking their time, they are relaxing, they are just slow striding in and out of the arena because they're conserving their energy. I love that Yoda used the Force to get the cane, and he's walking off into the sunset. That theater experience, one of my all-time favorites.
He had that grunt. Yoda had that grunt after he got the cane. He was like, ugh.
Yep,
I was like, bro, you just got done flipping and twirling and just giving him the business. But then you, ugh. I was like, okay.
Also, little shade to Hayden Christensen, who in the earlier part of the movie when he was being braggadocious was like, I think I'm as good as Master Yoda. I'm like, your arm begs to differ, dude.
that nub you have at the end of the
movie. Jay, what about you? What's the scene that did it for you? I'm hoping in a good way.
Okay, it is. It's a good scene. The scene when you see the assassination attempt on Padme, and you first have Anakin and Obi, they're talking, and then Anakin is like, and Obi's like, I sense it too. And then all of a sudden everything plays and you just see Obi-Wan just dive out the window.
No thought.
Just go. It just dives and just perfectly lands. And then you have the incident because it follows, and then the speeder is, and then you have Obi-Wan just drop and perfectly land on the speeder. And Anakin was like, I was trying to find a speeder that was fast enough, that had good hold. I was like, okay, this is a good scene. Because it kept going, it kept moving. And again, it's like Mark said earlier, it's that Star Wars feel you have with it. But it was something with that too. Again, it was like this, just that dive, just no thought, just yahoo out the window. I was like, that was one of my scenes. But again, I agree too with Mark's scene, because again, Christopher Lee was out here twirling that lightsaber, bro. It was like, we only match by lightsabers. I was like, oh, okay, sir.
And that scene that Jay's talking about, too, the reason why I love that scene, see, this is a love fest for Jay and I, because there are things that we love about this movie, and one of them is we finally get to see what Obi-Wan Kenobi was talking about in Episode 4 when he's first describing to Luke about his father being killed by Darth Vader at the time from a certain point of view. And he's also talking about the Force, and he's talking about how he used to be really good friends with Luke's dad. And he smiles, and it's like he's reflecting on all these great times they had. And that was the first glimpse of these great times that they're talking about, where they had all these cool adventures and they really got along, and it was a fun buddy cop movie. So to see that play out on screen, that's something I was waiting for literally my entire life to see.
Yeah. I will say this too, about again, the romance gets its short shift from some people. But in my personal opinion, the problem is a lot of the great moments with the romance are preceded by cringe. And the number one cringiest moment, sand, it gets everywhere, it's coarse, and it's rough. Yeah, I get it. It's bad. Like, I did hit Disney Plus, fast forward a couple times on that moment. I couldn't watch it again. However, following that moment and in that scene is partially why I do love this movie. First of all, the backdrop is gorgeous. I don't know if that's completely CGI or partial CGI, but that is eat it up. Love it. And Padme's dress and just how she is on Naboo, sort of letting it go. You see how she was, she talks about it, she was raised to be a politician from a very young age. And honestly, this is probably one of the few moments with a death threat where she can literally just be like, the only thing I got to worry about is staying alive. So I'm going to enjoy this moment, and I'm going to let the hair down a little bit, and I'm going to have the white flowy dress that Anakin just slightly rubs. It's like in Pride and Prejudice when Mr. Bingley holds on to Jane's ribbon. It's just a slight little thing that makes you understand the depths of the feeling between these people. And that kiss. That kiss is so great. I feel it. The scoring underneath it is incredible. Some of the best stuff that John Williams does in the Star Wars universe is either longing or love. Those are the best parts of every score. Don't get me wrong. We all love the Empire's thing. We all love the one, but the best music, in my personal opinion, that is throughout the Star Wars universe is when it is underscoring longing or love. So I'm talking Binary Sunset, I Love You, I Know, and then this moment as well. So I do live for that with this one, and it's one of the reasons why I honestly really do like this movie. I can not excuse some of this dialogue and definitely not a lot of the acting, but when those two kids are on screen, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for their little moment happiness, because we all know it's going to end tragically. We know this is not going to end well. So give them their Romeo and Juliet star-crossed moments. And we'll talk about this in the behind the scenes stuff. That's what he was going for. He was going for Shakespearean. He didn't have the dialogue to match his intentions. That was the problem.
Yeah, and it was. I'm glad that we brought up his injury at the end of the movie, because, dude, Anakin gets his arm chopped off, and we're Star Wars fans, so we're expecting a hand, maybe a foot. We're expecting a whole arm. And so when you're watching those love scenes play out, you're thinking, okay, well, I know we got episode 3, and I know that's going to be the one where it gets really dark. So we probably just have the rest of this movie to enjoy our relationship. And it's like, okay, but it's still Star Wars. And so we get these nice quiet moments. But when you have one of those in Star Wars, relish every second of it, because it's about to pick up. There's about to be battle swords drawn, and somebody's losing something as a part of their body.
Can I ask you guys a question? What did you think about the scene where they were sentenced to death, where they were sentenced to gladiator pits, and it was just them, Jacqueline? You just
I love it. I love that scene. I love when they're on the little speeder, and she finally tells him she loves him. Bitch. That's what romance novels were made for, and I've read way too many of them not to live for that moment. I'm sorry.
I will admit, I like the part how when you have Anakin looking at Obi-Wan basically like, what we gonna do? Obi-Wan is like, just be calm. He's like, well, what about Padme? He look over like, no, she good. She good. She all the way up top on the obelisk. She's like, she good. She figured it out. She all right. Like, damn. Like, there were just so many things, again, but that's, again, I get you had to use CGI heavy to create all these monsters. So it now makes you wonder, like, what were the actors seeing? Were they seeing somebody in a giant, suit? Or were they just like, hey, play with your imagination in this moment?